Educating.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the top 5. Welcome. First, like and share. Tag your friends, tag your family. Let them know we have a hot question of the day. So let's get started. So let's see what's going on in my world. I know I kind of rushing things, right? Let me start. Calm down. What's going on with me? Let me see. Who is here? Who is on? Guys, I can't see the comments. So if somebody can help me out.
Geraldine for Keith, my sister, cousin from London. We just
Hi,
lost
Geraldine.
Bolo. Hey, Geraldine. Shamita Paris.
Yes.
Hi, Natasha. Yes, I am on my phone today, so I can't see the comments. So thank you, Funday. So if anyone could shout out the people that has commented for me, that would be awesome.
Yes.
As I said, like and share.
I see you.
Veron Noel. We have Veron Noel.
Oh, Veron, my cousin. Hey, cousin. Hey, he's always there every Sunday. Hey, Mo. So I am Hermelin Marisho, and I am your host today. And for who do not know, I am also the founder of the Caribbean American Survivors Empowerment Group. And I'm here today. We have hot topics today. We have girl talk today. We have like a really awesome show today. So stick around to the very end, please. So we're just going to move into it because we have a packed show. We have a lot to talk about. So what's going on in my world? I am coming to you guys live from New York City. I am here with my boo, and what's going on in my world? We are just sitting, just doing nothing, just doing adult stuff. And I'm eating.
I would say, Carmelin, can you elaborate?
Can you just define adult? Because we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
All kinds of things.
So, right? So this morning, this morning, Big got up and he made like omelets and like had Caribbean bread. We don't get that in Texas, so it's like so yesterday I had Caribbean bread with and something which I didn't really want. I wanted the Caribbean bread, but I wanted it with saltfish. But we didn't have the saltfish, so I ate it with eggs and something. And so today now he got up, he made this beautiful omelet with same Caribbean bread. I'm like, not today, honey, not today. Not today. So I read an Uber Eats and I ordered like green fig with saltfish.
Oh, nice.
You should have seen me this my life. Baby, you don't understand. You don't understand for a Caribbean person.
Is that Canadian in you?
Eggs detectors, like eggs. I want fish cake, and I want saltfish, and I want all these stuff. Anyway, enough about me, guys. What's going on in your world? Shoot it, ladies.
Well, who wants to go first?
What's going on in your world?
What's happening in my world? So much. So many sleepless nights. The semester is coming to an end. And it's just like, you're in go mode all the time. But, you're enjoying it. I am enjoying it because I get to see, some really wonderful kids. I get to work around some very awesome people who, through this time with the pandemic and education, has just been some troopers, So I want to shout out and salute all the teachers out there who are doing their due. And all the kids who are grinding it out and sticking it out, hang on in there. But it's great.
All right. Before we go on, I want to move on to Landy. But before we go on, guys, we have a question of the day. The question of the day: can work husband lead into cheating? Can that lead into cheating? So, guys, audience, think about this question. We're going to answer it at the end. We want to know because, it happens at my job, which leads into altercation. So, we want to know, can work husband lead into cheating? I know Sunday you have a lot to talk about in your world, so I'm leaving you for later. That's what Landy. Let's go to Landy.
So this week was a busy week as usual because with the holidays and all that stuff
quickly approaching. There's just a lot of end of the year business and stuff that has to be taken care of. But one thing that happened this week that was really a good thing to hear was on November the 10th, Mayor de Blasio made an announcement that they are now going to use. So when somebody calls in and says, I have, there's a guy on my street and he's schizophrenic and he has a knife in his hand. Before, who would respond to these calls? It would be the police and the fire. And when police respond to those situations, most often they don't turn out very well, right? There's many times what we've heard within the last few years, or probably even beyond that, where you have somebody who has a mental health issue who's approached in the wrong way, or potentially this person might have had dementia and they don't know that the person has dementia and they approach them in the wrong way. And a situation where the person could be easily calmed down or addressed in the right way could end up with positive results, ends up in a death or something more serious. So what they've done is that they decided that they are going to be, and instead of the police going out, they have a team of health professionals that are made up of people who are mental health professionals, as well as EMS, who will go out to address those issues first. If the person does happen to have a weapon, it will be all three groups together. But the mental health professionals will have the first contact with the person to try and diffuse the situation. So if I can say that de Blasio has done one good thing, this is really big for me. And I know that his wife is a big proponent of mental health. She's had one of her passions throughout the time that she's been First Lady is moving or trying to promote mental health in New York City. And I think this is a step in the right direction. So that's a win for me. That was a positive.
All righty, Funde, shoot it.
Well, oh my God, what's going on in my world? It's been quite a week, right? Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm always excited to see our regular viewers. Thank you for joining us. So, what's going on in my world? There is so much. So, a couple of things to all my Jamaicans. I don't know how many Jamaicans are on here today, but I know Jamaica is flooding. Like, there has been rain nonstop. I was there for a week leading up to this week, and it was 8 days of nonstop rain, which has caused a ton of flooding on the island. So for those who are affected, we're sending our love, our condolences. I don't believe there was a lot of loss of life, but I know there was a lot of loss of property. So if you're in Jamaica, or if you have Jamaican family that's being affected by the flood, our condolences. Second, I want to take this moment and kind of send condolences to 17-year-old Kaylin. Not condolences because she's still alive, excuse me, I misspoke. But to her mother, there's a 17-year-old who attended a party in Jamaica, and she was beaten by 6 adult women. So it's not like 2 teenagers fighting or 2 girls fighting. This was where she went to a party. And, there's a lot of debate about this party because it's COVID and there should be no parties to begin with. But the 17-year-old teenager child was attacked by 6 adult women. She's now on life support at the University of the West Indies after being beaten with a Hennessy bottle, after being stabbed in her neck. And it's crazy because what started this argument, and I don't know if any of the viewers had watched it, but what started this argument was because she looked at someone the wrong way. So she looked at someone and they said, "Why are you staring at me?" And that started the argument. So that's pretty sad news. Coming out of Jamaica.
Yeah, that's very sad. You got 6 adults beating on a child. That's really Victoria, what's going on in your world?
Oh, other than real estate. With the COVID cases going up and with my job being with people all the time, I have to amp up my protection by wearing these little plastic things over my face to make sure that I'm good. But other than COVID, that's about what's going on, trying to protect ourselves to make sure that we're healthy going into the holidays, as Thanksgiving is rolling in and then Christmas around the corner. we have to make sure that we're well and safe and that we don't spread this deadly virus to our families and friends.
Exactly. So guys, as we move along, we wanted to just highlight some Black women, some brilliant Black women who contributed greatly to the Biden campaign, which led to his president-elect. So I know some of you guys have some people you guys want to highlight.
Yeah.
So let's go. I'll highlighting Abby Phillips.
I did.
That's Landy. Yes. Tell us about Abby, Landy.
So when I saw this Black beauty gracing the screens of CNN, I was like, who is this woman? She just has such a nice air about her. Her name is Abby Phillips. She's 31 years old. She's born on November 25th. And I'd like to big her up in many different ways. But first, I got to call out her parents. She is Trinidadian, both parents. Her father is an educator, I believe in psychology. I think that's a part of his background. And her mother is a real estate agent. So big up to Trinidad and Tobago. She's putting you guys on the map. Interestingly enough, she did live in Trinidad for a while. So she did come out with her accent. And when she came back here, she lived in Maryland right now with her husband. When she came back here, she said that she was very shy to speak and she was very quiet. But obviously that shyness has gone away. And what I most enjoy about Abby is she is very well poised. She's one of those women who enters a room and she speaks. And when she does speak, you listen. She's very clear and she's very calm and she knows her stuff. You know how they have this stigma about Black women always having to be the one in the room that's shouting to be heard and, she's all out there and she's loud. She doesn't have to be any of that. She says what she says and she knows what she's talking about. And this is a woman that little girls should be looking up to. You don't have to yell and scream. You could just be calm and you will be heard because you know that she's educated. She opens her mouth. I didn't know what school she went to, but I did my homework. She went to Harvard University. Yes, she's an educated woman, but she just has this aura about her that she does not have to be loud. She can just enter the room and you know that she has something important to say. So I give her 100% kudos for joining the CNN team in 2017. She did a really great job at being a commentator throughout the whole election, along with the other two panelists. She shared it with a woman, I think her name is Dana, and another man. So it was Dana as a white woman, then you had this white man, and then you had her. And she gave a really, really fresh perspective from her point of view, from her generation, and bringing like, her experiences and everything together to really present the information in a way that was very relatable and real. And one of the things that I've been hearing is that since this thing has been over, she's been relaxing at home and trying to really like take in like all the attention, because this is a career defining moment for Abby. And she said in her own words, she says, mostly I feel like I did what I wanted to do, which was to be honest and straightforward and knowledgeable and present and to tell the truth. This is what she said. I didn't want to go into things wanting to stand out. I went in thinking I wanted to be a valuable member of the team. And that she definitely has been. And like I said, she didn't want to stand out, but she did. And I thank her for all that she did in highlighting women's input. And, she really highlighted the fact that Black women had a real integral part in the outcome of this presidential election. So that's what I have to say about Abby. She's fabulous.
Yay for Abby.
It was awesome. Yes. She did catch my attention indeed, Landy, because when I saw her, I'm like, okay, I usually, go to my MSNBC, I love Rachel Maddow. And I heard her and I was like, oh, she is just like, as you say, she's catching the minute time she opens her mouth. It's like, I'm listening to everything she has to say. I'm just like taking notes, how she's doing certain things. So she was awesome.
Yeah, that's true. When I saw her first on CNN, it was just like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, who is the lady? Who is her? I never seen her before. But I mean, I don't even watch the news. So, but I was like, who is she? And then I got some information within an hour about her. coincidentally. So I was like, oh, that's Abby Phillips. Oh, okay. All righty. So Victoria, you want to go? Do you have someone to highlight?
Yes. I'm going to highlight Corinne Jean-Pierre. She's born in Martinique to Haitian parents. So she's an American political campaign organizer. She is the senior advisor, national spokeswoman for MoveOn.org, and also a political analyst for NBC and MSNBC. So I think she's a powerhouse, also from the Caribbean. And it's just great to see our fellow Caribbean women, Black women out here doing their thing.
Oh, I know. It's like I wish I was 10 years. I wish I was like 20 years younger though. Like
why? Why? What would you do?
I was thinking like I could do all these great things I wanted to do when I was their age.
You think you could still do it?
Now, what are you talking about?
Wait, I didn't know age has to do anything with this.
Harry, I think you could still do it. You could still do whatever you want.
I wanted to do it when I was like 25 and 30.
No, you can do it.
Listen, with age,
you can do it.
But I was inspired. So Funday, take it away with your highlight, lady. And I know you have some more to talk about, so you could.
Yeah. So with age comes wisdom, ladies. Listen, the best time to have done something is yesterday, last year, 10 years ago. The next best time is when?
Tomorrow?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're good. So I am going to highlight, and I love that we're highlighting the role of Black women in the Biden-Harris campaign, because there's no doubt that Black women, Black Caribbean women, Latina women, in that order. And I want to highlight Black women. I don't want to be Eva Longoria by, like diminishing what the role Black women have played in the Biden-Harris ticket to the White House. In that same breath, I want to acknowledge Miss Stacey Abrams out of Atlanta, Georgia, an American politician and fellow lawyer like myself. She served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 2011 until 2017 as a House Minority Leader. And what impresses me the most about Stacey Abrams, outside of the fact that she's a Yale law grad, Spelman grad, she's an author, outside of all these things, this woman in 2018 lost her bid for the gubernatorial seat in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. So she made a run for the governor of Georgia, and she lost. And she's always maintained that there was voter suppression. So if I were like a Stacey Abrams, I would have thought about, okay, what's my second career? I didn't win this race. Let me go sit somewhere and continue my career. Not Miss Abrams. Instead, Miss Abrams went on and started Fair Fight Action, which is commended for getting at least over 800,000 people registered to vote in the state of Georgia. And that led, I do believe, and I think everybody will own up to it, that led to the Biden-Harris win ticket for when they won the state of Georgia. So kudos to Miss Stacey Abrams. I also wanted to hear what you ladies had to talk about the first, second gentleman, right? for the audience, I don't know, Petra, Mo, Patricia, what do you think about the first, second gentleman? He's Doug Emhoff, first, second gentleman. He's a spouse of our U.S. Vice President-elect, Senator Kamala Harris. And he's going to quit his job to support his wife in Washington, D.C. What do you ladies think?
Good. Do it. Do it. Quit your job.
I'm trying to figure out the term. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
so first, second gentleman, or first gentleman?
No, he's not a first gentleman because he's not the husband of the president. So if there was a female president, exactly. So if there was a female president, so if Jill Biden was incoming president, then he would be the first gentleman.
Okay.
But So I had to.
That's what I'm trying to
me too, because I didn't get it. I'm like, first, second gentleman. What does that mean? But because it's a VP candidate, so he's a second gentleman. He's not first gentleman. So you have first lady, second lady, first gentleman, second gentleman. And he says, so I'm curious to see what you guys think.
I think he's doing a great thing because, you know, most of the times when the shoe is on the other foot is the woman looking to quit her job to support. So the fact that he's doing that, I think that's a great move on his behalf. Just showing like, hey, I am here. I'm the man, but I'm still allowing my wife to do the things that she wants to do, and where her passion lies, I support. That's a very amazing power move on his end. Go ahead, quit that job, Doug.
I also agree with,
I love that.
with Colleen too. I do think that she's going to need a lot of support because this is a really huge role that she has, and there's a lot of people who do not like the fact that she's a woman, and there's a lot of people who do not like the fact that she's a Black woman who's in this role. So she's got a double-edged sword that she has to deal with. So she needs all the prayers. She needs her husband's support 100%. I just want to tell you guys, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. I think I use LinkedIn more than I look at Facebook and stuff. And even though LinkedIn is a platform that's supposed to be more about business connections and things like that, you would be surprised at the amount of politics that has been infused. And when people were congratulating her on her win, you should hear some of the negative comments on LinkedIn and nasty things. There was times I think that whoever the moderator is had to pull things off. So there's a lot of things that she's going to come up against. And the same way that she was, you know, Obama was blocked in a lot of ways with the things that he wanted to do. I think that she's going to be dismissed and targeted for a lot of stuff. So if he wants to support his wife 100% and be a backbone for her during this transition and this next 4 years, I'm all for it.
And our audience seems to agree. Patricia Cornwell said, quit that job.
Yes.
Geraldine says, very commendable. And this is not the first time that he has quit or kind of switched career moves to support his wife. Initially, he was with a reputable law firm in California. And when she became senator, he switched to DLA Piper, which is still a reputable law firm in the DC area, in order to support his wife. One of the things that stood out to me was Senator Harris, and this is, I think, going to be a part of our discussion later, ladies, when we talk about Black women or Caribbean women in corporate America. Senator Harris only got married in 2013.
Oh, not long.
Not long.
It's called love.
Senator Harris and Doug Emhoff, they just got married in 2013. He's had a prior marriage. Yeah. This was her first. So I'm curious to see today when we do our discussion in our audience, talking about women in corporate America, because do they get to put career first, then family? Or can they put family first, then career? Or can they have it all? So I think this will play into our discussion later.
Yes.
Right. That is true. To be honest, I didn't give any thought to it, Funday, until you actually posed the question. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he will be giving up his career to support her, and he will be like a second husband, a second gentleman or something. Like, I had to think about it. Like, I was like, I can't think about all this right now, but I know he was going to be something.
It's a lot.
Does it mean he go plants a rose garden, grow tomatoes?
No,
because the stereotype of that role. No, let's play into the stereotype of that role.
Yeah.
What do we do? School lunches for children?
I was thinking,
what will his role be?
His role would be to support. I think what it is that if he's a legal head, I think there to back her up with advice and, you know, some of the things that's going to be coming at her really fast before she gets to see what's really happening. I think he would be the filter through all the things that are going to happen, all the changes that are going to be made. Because one of the things I really don't want for us to do is like take the situation as it is, where he's doing something in such a capacity, quitting his job while supporting his wife. And I don't want it to go in a negative where it's like, okay, the man is going to stay home and create lunches for kids and plant a garden. He's doing that. That's a power move. And I think what it shows is that the change that is happening in terms of men are allowing women now to do the things that they want to do freely, and we don't have
Can we take men allowing? Okay, I can sis.
No, okay.
Colleen, I love you. I can't go down that road. Men allowing. We don't need to be allowed.
No. You gotta let me finish my thought here.
We don't need to be allowed.
Because it's not allowing. I also said that we don't have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm about to say. We don't have to fight for it. It's not something that we have to like openly come out every time women wants this, that we have to fight for it. I think now they're realizing that, yes, open the doors and make it more even and equal, and allowing people to do the things that they're passionate about and what they want to do, and without taking away from either one, right? Because we don't want to say, oh, women have to stay home and be moms and cook. But we also don't want to give men that look like, okay, well, now you have to wear the skirt because the woman is wearing the pants. We definitely don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're highlighting men that are doing that, because it's not an easy thing to do because of societal stereotypes that's going to come their way. So we want to shout out Doug. Doug picked that job, helped that woman be the greatest first vice president, African-American she can be. And let's go. 8 more years. After Biden is over, we will vote for her.
Yes. So Patricia,
she said it.
Yes, and Patricia also said the same thing. 8 more years. So I stand corrected, Patricia. I hear you. She also said, Patricia said that he will advise her and hold her hand because it's not easy.
It's not. And she needs that. She definitely needs that.
All right, ladies. So we're gonna move into the next segment. But before we move into the next segment, audience, again, the question of the day: can work husband turn into work affair, or cheating, or something, or you just remain work husbandish? So after this break, let's talk about Caribbean women in corporate America. I know we talk a lot about women in America, but I wanted to focus a lot more on Caribbean women like us who came here, and how we fit in when we get into corporate America. Do we have to work really, really hard to get to the top? So I will be back after this break.
Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that serves immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitor's visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529, or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde. Law done differently.
All right. Welcome back. So before we get into the discussion of Caribbean women in corporate America, I just want to share my little short story. For the last couple of weeks, me and a couple of friends, we were talking about our challenges in corporate America, and I didn't realize each one of us didn't know the other person was going through that challenge. And what we realized all together, we were suffering from the imposter syndrome. I don't know if any one of you guys heard of it before, but the imposter syndrome makes you fear being exposed as a fraud, even though you have your credentials and experience. You deny and downplay praises. So me. You fear you won't meet expectations. So me. You think your success is because of luck. So all of us had this same 4 things, and we realized it was imposter syndrome. And I wanted to know if anybody experienced imposter syndrome within the workplace, thinking like, I'm not good enough. Like, you have your credentials, you have everything, but when you measure up with the women in your department or on the job, you think you are a fraud. You think somebody's going to expose you. You think like, hey, I'm not good enough. Like anybody, it's just me alone in my little boat. Handling the imposter syndrome and trying to get, and the challenges within the workplace. Because at my work, it's like I feel like we have the white women, the regular white women, not really rich or anything like that. Then you have the Black Americans, and then you have the Latinas. So I feel like that's like 3 steps. And then the Caribbean people, women, because they have like a lot of Caribbean Africans at my job, like we just kind of get pushed aside. So it's like to get to like a supervisor position or even a managerial position, that's like immediately that's like a no-no. Because you have to, you have all these people to jump over, even though, and sometimes a lot of the time what we notice, these people do not have the credential. They do not have, some of them don't have, what they do have is a sweet mouth.
Not really hearing her.
We're not hearing her, Hermie. What happened to her microphone?
Your volume went down.
Check your volume. You went away. Okay, you're better now. You're better. You're better.
I'm gonna tell Daniel, stop calling me. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. It's the reality of live TV. So when you Herbie, first of all, I was super excited. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you guys, so I guess I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay.
So for those that are watching, we're talking about Caribbean women in corporate America. And when Hermie brought up this topic for this week, I was super excited. Okay, so I spent, I want to say, over 10 years in corporate America. I made it to the C-suite. So I spent some time in the C-suite. And my experience was a lot different. I was very much aware that there was a glass ceiling. So I was very much aware of the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling did not affect me as a Caribbean woman. I know people talk about accents and how their accent. In fact, I think my accent and my Caribbeanness helped me move up. In fact, I had a problem with that. There were times when I was sitting in meetings at the corporate level, and things would be said in my presence, and they would consider it a safe audience because I was Caribbean. So they would say things about Blackness, right? But it was safe because I was Caribbean, so they didn't see me as a Black woman. So yeah, it was a totally different experience. The further up I went, the safer they thought I was because I'm Caribbean. They would use, and I won't use where I was, but I was, I think 1, 2, 3. I was probably 2 levels, maybe 1 level from the top. Right. So I went through all the broken wrong. I've done corporate awareness. I've done cultural awareness. I've done all that. In fact, there was a time in my career was when I was sick and tired of being the Caribbean woman or the Black woman, because at every conference, send Diani, because this was when diversity was a thing. Remember, everybody was jumping on the diversity wagon because, they wanted to show how diverse they were. So if there was a conference, send Diani. I remember being at one place of employment where there were 80-something employees at the time, and I was the only Black woman that was in a managerial position. Of course, we had Black women there, but there were secretaries and things of that sort. So my experience was not as Hermie described. So I never felt like I was not a part of what was happening. I felt very much a part of it, but I was also very much aware of the ceiling. Yes. That I was very much aware. I was very much aware of the broken wrong. Like I was promoted very quickly. My promotions were not, my promotion from like entry level assistant director to director, it happened over the course of 8 months. 8 months. And I made it to the top. And so my challenge with that was how they viewed Caribbeanness versus Blackness.
It's the truth, though. It's kind of like when I competed in the Miss USA system. It was very interesting because I remember one guy who was super nice, and I don't know if I don't think it came off wrong, but I think it's probably the way he was brought up. And he used to say something like this. He used to be like, "Oh, you are a different looking Black.
Yes.
You're not the same." And I'm like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of in a weird way of asking you, like, it's not really a compliment, but I don't know, I can't really understand it, but I do. At that moment I realized that because your family is from the Caribbean, they separate you
from Black
different.
America.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes,
it's very interesting, but I don't understand why, to be honest. I really don't understand other than our cultural differences, right? But our looks are very similar, right? You can't, if you pull us all together, you can't tell who is who, right?
right.
But culturally, we're different. But I never understood why they would make those little remarks. I'm not too sure.
And
that's true.
I see what's my last job, Black women was the ones that wanted to kill me. That was me.
Oh,
so in corporate America, my biggest battle was not with the white man in the corner office. It was with people that looked like me, that thought I was a sellout. I was this, I was that, or Black women who would say, oh, she's Jamaican. They would mock my accent. They would mock cultural things about me. So my challenge was never, ever with white America when I worked in corporate America. It wasn't. It was a totally different. And one of our she said, it was Black women that wanted to kill her.
But you know something? I think you're right, because when I was in Brooklyn and I worked at a nonprofit, and as you said, I went in as an administrative assistant, and within less than 3 months, I became the accounts manager. I mean, it was a Black nonprofit, so I moved up pretty fast right there. But I think it's like moving to the South is different. They do, and the people that is in your way are the people that looks like you, that saying like, because I know, like, I asked a question. How did you get to go to school? How did you pay for school? How come you guys do so much and you're not legal? I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And you meet all these questions, and after they ask you the questions and you're being honest with your questions, it's like they have, like, it's like a vendetta comes out, like, oh no, like, I'm gonna tell on her, I'm gonna do this because she is not gonna be the next supervisor up in here, not this Caribbean woman, no. And I don't care if I just have my GED. Like, that's the stuff like I have to put up with at my job. Like, well, thank God it's COVID and we home now, so I don't have to put up with them. But it's like you have to put up every week, every day. Like, I
agree.
They do not see us as all Black. They separate us. And as you said, it's not my boss, my boss or the people on the side in the corner office. It's the people that I'm working with in my department.
One of the things, and I realized, I mean, I never had that happen. The two things that I would really say is the accent. One, you have to kind of shift or change yourself a little bit for them to understand you. I had a lot of that going through high school. Like, what language are you speaking? Hello, I'm speaking English. Yes, that's one of it. Can you teach me how to talk like you? Not happening. But another thing I realized is that us Caribbean people have a different work ethic, in a sense. And a lot of the time it is highlighted and people are aware of that. And you would see, like, oh, they take a keen interest in you in terms of, well, we always want to be on time. If we're going to go somewhere, we're going to be there ahead of time. For most of us, I'm not speaking on a general, level, but for the majority of the time. And the way we approach certain things are different. Caribbean people have a way about them. We have this aura about us. And I mean, let's not take that away. We're special. We get that. We're special. And it comes to the point where a lot of the people feel as though we come here to take things away from them. So they're always on the defense. Like, you're not going to come, you're not going to get this job that I've been sitting here 10 years waiting for. But they're not considering, well, you have not done anything to advance yourself for that position. You might not have been presenting yourself as someone that can execute the job the way the company wants to. And you walk in there with your education, with your experience, and with just your know-it-all, and they're upset about that.
What? I think it's a little different. When it comes to Caribbean people, I think it's because when we come to this, like, when my family came to this country, they had a motive, right? Like, they didn't come to say they're going to just wait until the next job to hit them, or they're going to wait if that position falls in their lap. They had a plan, and they wanted to make sure that they executed that plan. And I think when it comes to Caribbean people, is that because we're so motivated, it can come off as, people could feel a little bit defensive in a way because they see that you might be taking their job. But it's because we came here for a reason, right? And I think that's what's probably rubbing people the wrong way, because we all come here for a reason, right? So I think that's what's basically happening.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And I've made a deliberate attempt to stop separating myself from Black America. So very early on in my career, I would be the first one to say, I'm not Black. I'm not Black. Right?
So
I wanted,
Johnny?
very early on in my career, I wanted everybody to know I was Jamaican. Very early. I'm Jamaican, I'm Jamaican, I'm Jamaican. Because I thought, I'm talking about 90s, early 2000s, when I'm building my career, I really played into that rhetoric where they would say, Black America is lazy. Black America don't want this. I played into that. I'm going to confess. I'm going to be honest with you in the audience. I played into that because I'm like, I'm not Black. I'm Caribbean. I'm going to show up on time. I'm educated. Here are my credentials. So I always wanted, even when they would give you the application and it would put all those categories, you're African.
Yeah.
I would draw a little box and put Jamaican.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Like, I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I did. I was like, don't lump me. And there's psychological reasons for that. There's, I've taken classes in African American studies and I know what was going on in my head and blah, 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 right? But I did until I gave birth to an American. My son's Black American. And I realized I could not separate me from what my child is. But I did that. I'm guilty of doing that. And so when I was to sit in corporate meetings and they always thought I was safe. Mind you, a lot of times I'm the only one. I would say 90% of the times, 100% of the times, I'm the only one that looked like me. And I became known as a problem. I was a rebel because I would stop them. Mm-hmm. I would say, excuse me, you cannot say that. I would speak to unconscious bias. Mm-hmm. I would pull them. I'm like, why? And then I would ask the question, why are you saying something? Why would you say that? I would challenge them. And then, pretty soon they started having meetings without me. The rest is history. No, seriously. I got fired from corporate America. I'm not afraid to say it because I became problematic because I stopped keeping my mouth shut. Because with Caribbean people, they think we're just going to play along.
Mm-hmm. Because again, that's what it was just so hard hearing it and understanding that, they're separating Caribbean people from Black America. But then without knowing my background, seeing me on the street, you don't know where I'm from. You're just looking at me as Black.
Right. I want to hear from Landy. Landy, you're kind of quiet. Let's hear.
I've been quiet because I've just been taking it in. The imposter question that you came up with, that you posed to us earlier, if you've ever experienced that. And I was thinking to myself, not really, because my experience was I always grew up as always being the only Black girl.
Yeah.
From time. I was always the only one. So I guess my parents, my father, they always boosted me up. Like, you could do whatever you want to be and you can go wherever you want to go and no one's better than you are. So I always had this in me. And when I started to get into the work world, I also progressed very fast too. And I worked in corporate America. I worked in some big companies as a nurse director, and I ran like entire departments and teams and stuff like that. And I was that only person. Usually I was always that person who was just under the owner of the company. Mm-hmm. And so, I would have people say things like, oh, she looks like I thought you were an African woman. I thought you were this. And this would be coming from other Black. I said, why do you think I'm African? Oh, because you're so serious and you seem like you're very and I would find these comments to be very interesting. I would also hear when I'm in the room with white people and then I open my mouth to speak, you'll hear things like, oh, she's so well spoken. What the hell do you expect me to sound like? And I never understood that when people say that, that they were actually, it's racist.
It is.
I never took it as that. I thought that they were saying, oh, because I was eloquent, I could explain myself really well. But really they're saying like, oh, she's a Black woman and she can hold herself. You know, she speaks well and she presents well. This is what they were saying, and I didn't even take it as that. It was like a while later, I read an article, and it was about microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
Yes.
Microaggressions.
I got to understand that this is what they were doing, and it went over my head. It just completely went over my head. So this whole idea about feeling an imposter, I would say, as I really became comfortable in my career, I was like, no, you're gonna respect my education and my experience.
Right.
You know, like you can't tell me nothing because I already know who I am. So you could think whatever you want, whatever level you want to put me on, that's good for you. But I know exactly where I am. I know the money that you have to pay me. And if you don't pay me what I want, I'm going to get research. I'm going to show you this is where I need to be. So if you can't meet this, then you can't do business. And I became very, very comfortable with doing that. If you don't ask for what you want, people will just give you whatever. So you have to know your worth and stand for yourself.
That is true. It's a whole mindset change because I never experienced that in Brooklyn. Texas, definitely. I think I need to move back.
Brooklyn.
Welcome you with open arms.
I feel like Brooklyn's a different world.
I never felt this imposter syndrome ever until I moved to Texas.
Wow. I can see that because there are times when you're like, maybe they're right. Maybe maybe I'm not maybe I didn't pass that bar exam. Like,
oh my gosh.
No, you guys, I'm telling you, once you leave New York, I consider New York a blanket.
It's a blanket.
For Caribbean, it's a cocoon.
Yeah.
You guys are safe.
Yes.
You guys not experiencing anything. I lived in New York for 10 years.
No,
I walked around.
No.
You guys are safe.
No.
You guys are insulated.
How do you mean? How do you mean that in New York?
You guys are insulated.
No, it's because you know what? The Caribbean in us, you gonna get checked.
No.
Really?
No,
Think about
no, ma'am.
No,
ma'am.
Think about
No,
it.
ma'am.
Think about, okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Think about it. Think about it.
Take a sip. Colleen, we differ.
No, but really, how can you say in New York people don't experience those things because we're blanketed? No, this is a systematic thing that is happening everywhere. No. It's just that
it's
New
different
York,
in the South. It's different in the
South. You guys have company.
From the South to New York, it's different. But
you cannot check somebody in the South as you will check somebody.
You can't.
You can't.
That's why we gotta be fair. No. We gotta listen. That's what I said. I said in New York, you get checked really quickly. That's what I said. I did say that in New York, checked really quickly. That's the difference.
I didn't hear that part.
Yes. I just want to highlight some comments from the audience. Julian Latham says microaggressions at the workplace cut like a knife, and you don't even know when you're bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's deep. And Doug also said something. Did you guys see Doug comment?
I wrote it down.
Yes.
Let's bring up Doug Howard's comment.
Let's bring up Doug.
I literally wrote it down when I saw it. I have to that one. Yeah, I have to disagree with some of the observation, but it's a bigger and deeper story.
It's true.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Talk to us, Doug. What do you mean by that? Because that caught my attention so much, so I wrote it down.
You know what? I wanted to just say something real quick. What you guys talking about the whole New York thing. So New Jersey is a little bit different. So New Jersey you have parts in New Jersey where you probably be a little sheltered to it because you have more people that looks like you. And then there's parts of New Jersey that when you're kind of singled out, like I grew up in areas where, you're so used to people looking at you like you don't know anything, right? They systematically put you in the lower level classes because you're Black and raise your white peers to the higher level classes because they're white. And I remember one thing that I learned as a kid. I was not even a kid. I was like a young adult. I used to go to Grenada so much because I felt welcomed. When I was here with my friends, or so-called friends, Black Americans, females, wouldn't want to be my friend they used to make fun of me. And because of like different things, because I was very, I wasn't a follower, and, you know, I wasn't like going to follow everyone that what they're doing. So, but when I went to like Grenada and I met friends, I realized that we had more of the same interests. So I do understand when you say like in New York, it could be a little different, because I had friends in New York where I could go and just hang out and be myself. But when I come back to my little town, it's like, I feel singled out.
Yeah.
Not the same.
And Colleen too, it's lonely outside of New York in corporate America. It is super, super lonely. Like nobody, you have, like when I lived in New York and I worked for the police department, I had girls from Trinity. I had girls from Barbados. I felt very much empowered as a woman because I was in my comfort zone. I was super protected and insulated. Once I left New York, I went to Michigan, and I went to corporate America in Michigan. Nobody at the table looked like me. So on a Friday evening, when the girls, you know, that were going for drinks or going for lunch or what, I was not invited.
Nope, they don't invite you.
I'm not invited, even though they look like me. They're the secretary or the admin assistant. They're not inviting a director.
They do that now.
I'm a part of that. So I'm telling you, it was super lonely. It was so lonely. Like, I'm not a crier, but if I was a crier, I would sit in my window and look through. I'm looking through the window, seeing them leaving for lunch. And I would just sit there like, you know, this is lonely. I always say it got super lonely at the top.
I'm a crier.
Wait, I'm not a crier. I deal with loneliness differently, but I remember it being super. At my last law firm job, I was senior attorney. Yeah. My office was a corner office, and all the paralegals were Caribbean or Latin. Same thing.
You're right.
Diani not getting invited. And I walk in and the laughing, they would be laughing, and I walk in and the laughing stop.
Mm-hmm. So, exactly. Oh my God. So we could talk about this forever, but I was following this lady on TikTok, and these are some of the things she had recommended. And this is just for women in general. She was just talking about women in corporate America and the things that we do and we should stop doing it. She says, if somebody spots your mistake in an email and they point it out to you, instead of writing back, oh my God, I'm so sorry, just write back, good catch.
Yeah.
Don't say thank you.
She said, don't say sorry. She said don't say sorry, because she was explaining how the other person is feeling when you say sorry. It's like, yeah, I got you, but you're gonna get it by saying, great catch. And my boss do that all the time. Like, and I point out her mistakes, she always go, great catch, Jane, great catch. And she said, if you are late for a meeting, don't say, I'm sorry, I'm late. Say, thank you for waiting.
Yeah. I think I read something like that the other day. Mm-hmm.
Never say I'm sorry. She said women need to take out the word sorry in the vocabulary in corporate America.
Yeah. Petra Andrew, she said, it's so sad. I worked at a company and no one invited me to nothing when I first joined because of my education. And I just looked at it like, what kind of people are we? Most of them, I guess you wanted to say most were Black women.
Most of them were Black women as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my, yes, we have experience at Petra. Oh, that's my friend. Hey, Petra. Yes, they do that at my job too. And even if they come very close to you, it's like they just come for information just to get back to like kind of like backstab you. That's my experience. So I'm a loner. I'm naturally a loner. So I just stay to myself and just get my work done and just be like, you know, I'm gonna have my own way out of this place. Yeah. So guys, we have only 5 more minutes and we have to answer
Doug actually responded.
Look at Doug King Howard. He responded, Hermie.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
He said, somebody reading it? Doug King Howard says, living in the South, you get more of the real truth. In the North, the white folks are worse, and they will use Willie Lynch syndrome on us to the max. This is very deep-seated, long-term problem.
Well, I guess it's different from a man than a woman. We're just talking about our own personal experience. So, Doug, definitely we're probably going to chat about that at a later time because definitely our experience are different. But let's go into the question of the day. Do you think that work husband can turn into office affairs? And have anybody experienced like a work husband? I never experienced. I guess I'm not wife material on the job.
Me neither.
No.
Nobody's ever called me their work
I don't.
husband.
I'm sorry, but I feel like if you're too nice to men, they take it too personal. That's how I feel. Unless they, they don't swing that way. But then that's a different story. You be friends. But I feel like sometimes certain guys, we'll be cool, but keep it as that and not to cross boundaries because, some people, you never know. People are weird.
Yeah.
And they might think something else. And all of a sudden you're in some fire that you don't want to be in. So.
Yeah, at my job, they said, "Oh, Jane, you have resting bitch syndrome. Like you have that faith, so we don't even come to you with those things." But I know at my job, we had that. This girl had her fiance on the job, and she had like a work husband-ish on the job, and then you will see she had a work husband-ish, like they smoking or they really, 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 really close together. We would be like, why are they so close? Anyway, one day the fiance came over to our department. And he slapped him 3 times. He slapped him 3 times and he said, "Don't you come near to my woman again." So the guy was from like Persia. The woman was Latina, and then the guy that got punched in the face was white. But that was funny to us because that was like a work husband went really, really bad. See? But I know in my department there are one, and me and this guy work really close together, and I mean, he's not even into like women. And this girl was really, really bad for him. She was like, "Oh, Jane, yeah, that's my work husband. Like anything you have to ask him goes through me." I'm like, "Little girl, please, please, please. I didn't come here for that. Could you move to the side?" And people respected this little 23, 24-year-old calling this guy her work husband and be like, "Oh, she, that's her work husband." And she was like, and she had a boyfriend. So I was just confused how far they take the work husband thing into like that's like a real relationship on the job.
Never heard. I mean, I might have heard of it in passing, but I've never experienced it. I see that when I was in leadership, I wouldn't tolerate it because you're looking into sexual harassment claims.
Exactly.
So this is not something that I think any corporation, I hope, if they become aware of it, are not tolerating, because this is like just sexual harassment 101.
Exactly.
But then the funny thing is, right, the guy never even called out his work wife. So it's like, I'm like, this is a one-sided relationship. So yeah, I just wanted to chat about that. I didn't know about this until I moved to Texas, about this work husband.
It might be a southern thing. Maybe it's a Texas thing.
No, it's actually I heard of it.
You heard of it? Oh, I
just don't entertain it.
Exactly.
That's
Landy, have you heard of it?
Well, I've never heard of it, but you know that there's lots of men and women who have affairs,
right?
That they work with, and that can definitely be problematic in many different fronts, because if you are the person in charge and you're using you have a particular person that you depend on to do all these things for you, and you say really nice things, and maybe you take her out to special lunches, and then she's always going above and beyond for you. There's a lot of people who build these relationships intentionally to use a person's skill for their liking. And that is bad. That's manipulation. And that is taking a work relationship to another level that it should not go, because this is where you might have that person who's, doing all of your reports and calling all of your clients and doing all this extra work for you. She's looking at this, like, I'm going to do all of this because this is my work husband and he's going to be my husband or my boyfriend, or we're going to build on this to become more. And that's when it becomes problematic, because one person might be thinking one thing that, I'm drawing closer because I'm trying to build a relationship. That man is just thinking about getting those reports done. He wants you to do this and that done. He might not even be thinking of you romantically,
right?
But you're thinking another thing. And then it becomes a problem. And it becomes a bigger problem if he has a wife that's watching, because somebody's going to get in trouble.
I experienced that, but it was just about the workload. I had that working, did everything that I had to do. I became a work wife to my boss. And I'm like, nah, shut that down. Because you're not going to be using me, because you like how I work and you like the things that I do. Don't label that for me at all. Because you're not going to give me more because you figure we have that type of understanding and that comfort, like you label me your work wife. No, don't do that. I'm not your work wife. And matter of fact, like, girl, I don't want to be nobody's wife. Stop.
Is your boss female? Is your boss female or male?
She's a female.
And then, you're the work wife.
Okay. Like, first of all, hearing it was really odd because that was the first time I've ever been, called someone's work wife. But when I understood why the hell she wanted me to do that, like, can you put my reports on the desk in the morning when a parent is
to use your
the file is right over there. You can go get that file yourself. I'm not your work wife. So I think it's a comfort though, because there's some people that would call me a work wife if they would in the future. And depending on it, I wouldn't mind. Because again, it's just like some people have it as a fun thing, but some people have it as a totally different thing where relationship dreams are brewing. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I think it's based on your comfort level too. You want to put a stop to it if you don't feel like you're comfortable being called that. And, if you see things are happening and things are escalating and it's not going to be or end well, I think you should shut that down because it does pose a problem.
Right. I agree. I'm not doing the work wife thing. So that's it for me. So guys, the show has come to an end. So I want to thank everyone for the contribution. Mr. Doug, Miss Geraldine, Mr. Lathan, my cousin Veron. I can't see everybody. Could somebody shout out some more people for me?
Yes,
Patricia Cornwall,
Listra,
Petra,
Tamika Rogers, Patricia Cornwall.
All right. Okay, well,
I just have one tip to add to all my corporate people here that are in position of power where they're making decision. Remember to put minority women in the pipeline. So if you're watching the show and you're at the table when decisions are made, remember to put minority women in the pipeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for the show, and we thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Hi, Patrick. Thank you, guys. Everybody said was a great topic, so I guess and I hope we left you guys with some little meat that you could take into the job. So, ladies, women, stop saying I'm sorry. Use different words. All right.
Nice
maybe
catch.
I'll write down some of the things that she said. I have like a whole book of it and probably post it on Ride Along so you guys can kind of see that during the week.
So say nice catch.
To say before we leave. So somebody sent me this quote and it said, surround yourself with women who would mention your name in a room full of opportunities.
Yes. That's a good quote to end on. Yes. I'll definitely write it in my little book here.
I'm writing it down.
Okay.
So guys, thank you guys again. Good night, and have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Little music. No music.